Imagine a nation where freedom means questioning everything, where the pursuit of happiness is a radical act of self-expression, and where the status quo is constantly being challenged. This is the essence of the American counterculture movement, a phenomenon that emerged in the 1960s and continues to shape the country's identity to this day. At its core, counterculture is about rejecting the mainstream values and norms that have been perpetuated by society, and instead, embracing a more unconventional and often radical way of living. The roots of counterculture can be traced back to the post-World War II era, when American society was characterized by conformity and social conservatism. The 1950s were marked by a rigid social hierarchy, with clear expectations of how people should behave, dress, and think. However, as the civil rights movement gained momentum and the Vietnam War became increasingly unpopular, a growing number of young people began to question the values and institutions that had been handed down to them. They sought to create a more just and equal society, where individual freedom and creativity could flourish. One of the key drivers of the counterculture movement was the emergence of new forms of artistic expression, such as rock music, folk music, and underground comics. These art forms provided a platform for young people to express themselves, to challenge the status quo, and to connect with like-minded individuals. The music of Bob Dylan, Janis Joplin, and the Beatles, for example, became anthems for a generation that was seeking to break free from the constraints of mainstream culture. The lyrics of these songs often dealt with themes of social justice, personal freedom, and nonconformity, resonating deeply with young people who were looking for a more authentic and meaningful way of living. The counterculture movement also had a profound impact on American politics, with many young people becoming involved in activism and protest movements. The civil rights movement, the anti-war movement, and the feminist movement were just a few examples of the many social and political causes that were taken up by countercultural activists. These movements sought to challenge the existing power structures and to create a more just and equal society, where everyone had access to the same opportunities and resources. The counterculture movement was not just about personal expression and creativity, but also about collective action and social change. As the counterculture movement gained momentum, it began to influence the way people lived their daily lives. Many young people started to experiment with alternative forms of living, such as communes, cooperatives, and intentional communities. These experiments in communal living were often characterized by a sense of shared purpose and mutual support, with individuals working together to create a more sustainable and self-sufficient way of life. The counterculture movement also led to a renewed interest in traditional crafts and skills, such as organic farming, natural medicine, and handmade crafts. The influence of counterculture can also be seen in the way people think about work and leisure. Many young people began to reject the traditional 9-to-5 lifestyle, seeking instead to create a more flexible and autonomous way of working. The rise of the gig economy, freelancing, and entrepreneurship can be seen as a direct result of this shift in values. People were no longer content to simply punch a clock and collect a paycheck, but instead wanted to pursue their passions and interests, and to create a sense of purpose and meaning in their work. The counterculture movement also had a profound impact on American education, with many young people seeking out alternative forms of learning and personal growth. The establishment of free schools, alternative schools, and intentional communities provided a space for people to explore new ways of learning and to develop their critical thinking skills. The counterculture movement also led to a renewed interest in holistic and integrative approaches to health and wellness, with many people seeking out natural and alternative therapies, such as meditation, yoga, and herbalism. Despite its many achievements, the counterculture movement was not without its challenges and controversies. Many people saw the movement as a threat to traditional values and social norms, and there was often a backlash against countercultural activists and artists. The movement was also criticized for its lack of cohesion and direction, with many different factions and ideologies competing for attention and influence. However, despite these challenges, the counterculture movement continued to evolve and adapt, incorporating new ideas and perspectives, and influencing new generations of artists, activists, and thinkers. Today, the influence of counterculture can be seen in many aspects of American society, from the way people dress and express themselves, to the music they listen to, and the causes they support. The movement's emphasis on individual freedom, creativity, and nonconformity has helped to shape a more diverse and tolerant society, where people are free to pursue their passions and interests without fear of judgment or reprisal. The counterculture movement has also had a lasting impact on American politics, with many of the social and environmental causes that were taken up by countercultural activists now becoming mainstream concerns. As we look to the future, it's clear that the counterculture movement will continue to play a vital role in shaping American society and culture. The movement's emphasis on creativity, experimentation, and collective action provides a powerful model for addressing the complex challenges that we face, from climate change and economic inequality to social justice and personal freedom. By embracing the values and principles of counterculture, we can create a more just, equitable, and sustainable society, where everyone has the opportunity to thrive and reach their full potential. In our next video, we'll be exploring the intersection of counterculture and technology, and how the rise of the digital age is shaping the way we think about creativity, community, and social change. We'll be looking at the ways in which countercultural values are being expressed online, through social media, virtual reality, and other digital platforms, and how these new technologies are enabling new forms of collaboration, innovation, and activism. Join us as we delve into the fascinating world of counterculture and technology, and explore the exciting possibilities that are emerging at the intersection of these two powerful forces.